How are you? One Guy Talking Podcast. What's up, Nicholas Tanek?
What's going on, Ethan? How are you? It's a
Good,
pleasure.
man. How are you doing?
Again for part 2. Love
exactly. I've missed you. What's going on?
I guess a lot of stuff. Doctor's visits and stuff, and I went through the whole thing of colonoscopy and blood tests and stuff, and the doctor was kind of funny, because going to a doctor, you have to be completely honest, or at least I
Right.
think I have to be completely
Like a
honest.
therapist.
Yeah, the lifestyle I lived, and he said,
Yeah. Preface it for a second. You're the author of a couple of books called The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself
yes,
and Chip Black Nail Polish.
yes,
And if the legions of people who are out there in the world are just listening for the first time and discovering both the One Guy Talking podcast and Nicholas Tanek, he led a rather difficult lifestyle or dangerous lifestyle.
yeah, dangerous. I'd say dangerous more than difficult.
And he's healthy now, and looking back on years of addiction and stuff like that. So you go into the doctor. What prompted that? Just to check up, or you were scared? Or
yeah, I was kind of scared. A lot of stomach issues, stuff like that. And I go to the doctor, and he did the full range, did the colonoscopy and endoduodenumscopy, I think it's called. They go down the throat. They did full-on blood tests for like HIV, hepatitis, all the sexually transmitted diseases and stuff like that. And I'm, like I said, I was completely honest with him about everything.
Right.
And he told me, he said, normally I'd say you dodged a bullet, but you dodged many bullets, like from a machine gun that you ran towards, So I was like, oh, okay. But like, once you get those results back and everything is clear, like I just turned 40.
Right.
The best news or diagnosis from the doctor was like, yeah, you have to eat right, you have to exercise, and you can't drink alcohol anymore. I'm glad you don't smoke, and I'm glad you don't do drugs anymore. But I'm like, wait, but what's wrong? What's wrong with me? He's like, you're 40.
You're old.
That's what happens when you're 40.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So that's what I got to deal with. So I got to change. The diet is the biggest thing, and the exercise and the diet is the biggest thing that I'm worrying I got to deal with right now. But it's good. I got a new lease on life.
Good. So I'm still trying to figure out. I haven't finished Coolest Way yet, but I'm still reading it.
Okay.
How you got clean? Now you say love, but opiates. Because you were doing heroin, among other things.
Yes.
Opiates are a serious thing, and they're hard to kick. Yeah. Like Miles Davis always used to say that he got clean by locking himself in his uncle's barn for like a month and not leaving. I don't buy it. So you had no medical intervention. You had no healthy detox. Right?
Oh no! I did. I had methadone, straight up methadone, and methadone is an opiate as well. It's extremely addictive. A lot of it, don't get me wrong, it helped me. It helped me wean off. It helped me wean off heroin. But then I don't want to say addicted to methadone, but definitely dependent on methadone. Like I didn't want more methadone or anything like that, but I was dependent on it.
Right.
And it's a business, straight up. So anyone out there, the methadone is a straight up business. They want your money. It helps people, it does, but like it don't ever forget that it is a business. And I was on that for many years. And when I say that love really saved me when it comes to dealing with addiction, in many ways I trade kind of like, the romance of a relationship and the kinky BDSM fetish aspects of the relationship, the sexual relationship, for that addiction for another. So she was just Lynn. The book is about Lynn, and she was just the kind of person who's really led a hard life, also dealt with addiction, and was, until the day she died, she dealt with her OxyContin prescription addiction or abuse. But our honestly, our sexuality and our love for each other kind of just like made us get our shit together, so to speak. With it,
Right,
I don't mean to curse, but like I can't really think of another way.
You can say motherfucker on this show.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, please. There's no rules.
I know.
You know
it's
that.
podcasting. It's not radio.
Yeah. Hey, when you're looking at me, by the way, other than my dashing good looks and my Montreal Expos hat,
I noticed that.
do you see a whatever you call it, a trailer at the bottom that says the One Guy Talking Podcast?
Yes,
or no?
I do.
Okay,
and
good.
It looks great.
Thank you. I winged that. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. So, okay, you went from addict of heroin to, because I'm trying to think like a therapist now. I'm in a mental health counseling program. So did you trade one addiction for another? Like sex, from heroin to sex. You always had intense sex in your life. But
yes. I mean, I guess we could say that, but it was the more of the kind of honest. It was the honesty thing. I always say that, you really love somebody when you don't have to delete your browser history on your laptop.
Exactly.
That was something we just like went all out. And when you finish reading the book, you'll see that like I've had people come up to me who know me, who I grew up with, were like, wow, holy shit, you really did let it all go out. You did
exactly.
So not only did I confess to a lot of drugs and crime and stuff like that, but the kinky aspects of sex. And it wasn't just one role or another. It was more, the beauty of it was the honesty that we had as two people who loved each other and who were a couple. We had this brutal honesty that I don't see many couples have.
Right.
I really don't. Not just and that kind of expanded. I mean, it started out, it was rooted in sex at first, but it really expanded to everyday life and to dealing with money problems and drug addiction and employment or unemployment and then even dealing with other people, each other's families and stuff like that. Because everyone's got issues with family members. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And, yeah.
Wait till you hear my impression of my dad in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do that because after we talk about your books, we're gonna talk about the events of the past couple of weeks, and I'm gonna sort of vibe into what it was like to grow up in the Sincoff house and discuss the Middle East and stuff.
Okay, cool.
So your book, you wrote Coolest Way first, and then Chip Black Nail Polish.
I wrote Coolest Way to Kill Yourself within the year that Lynn died.
Okay.
I was devastated, and I moved into my parents' basement, and it was it was during the summer, and right after she died, I went through a period of
intense mourning,
but my way, and I'm writing a book right now about that period. I just dove into the fetish community, the BDSM New Jersey, New York City fetish community, and just went crazy. And all I wanted, and it still didn't, it helped me heal, and the people that I met helped me heal. But it wasn't until I really started writing that when the healing began. So I started writing it, and then Hurricane Sandy happened.
Yep.
And in the book, I write about me writing during hurricane, writing the actual book. I write about the book and I had a generator, and I felt like such a loser. I was in my parents' basement. We had no electricity, but we had a generator, so I powered the laptop with the generator.
Yeah.
So, so we could have a refrigerator working and some TV.
Basic
my laptop
amenities,
necessities. And I just wrote. I wrote and wrote and wrote. I met a woman named Melissa Blair, who's my editor, and we have this wonderful relationship that and we've been writing ever since. Then I wrote, after that came out, it took about I think 2 years. It came out in 2013. I had no idea what I was doing. I know nothing. Now I know a little more, but back then I knew nothing about publishing a book. I knew nothing about street teams or
Right.
you know, promoting a book, but there's this whole culture of indie authors that are out there, and it's wild. And it's like, don't get me wrong, some of the books that are out there are straight up garbage, but there's some amazing books out there.
Tell me about that community. Describe it.
Okay, yeah.
Or, you know, flow into, from what you were just saying, into the community.
Yeah, cool. So that community, I just started, like, I noticed book bloggers on Goodreads, Amazon, and on Facebook, and Twitter, and I just sent them some copies of the book. And people like Kim Gray and people like Izza Jones and Joanne Sweeney, these are three people who really started it all and got and really promoted things. And then that made me meet people like Desiree and Tammy and Cynthia Thompson and Amy Thompson, and they all, like, there was this group of people who truly enjoyed and appreciated and loved my book, and they went out of their way to support me. And that's when the videos started. They started making things called teasers, which were, you know, little snapshots. It's like a picture with a quote and then the name of me and the name of my book, you know. And they're all different. And then videos were being made. I met a woman named Wendy Buck, another woman named Amy Howe, who truly helped in creating a more stylized version of it that was kind of my brand, so to speak.
Right.
And that confidence gave me, like, that support gave me the confidence to write a book called Chip Black Nail Polish, which takes place before The Coolest Way, which is a very short, you can probably read it in one sitting. It's less than 200 pages, and it's about the New Jersey punk rock scene in 1989. And it's about a woman who, the very, very first love of my life, when I was, you know, a teenager, and I was a really awkward teenager who just loved music. You know, I wasn't like a sports guy. You know what I mean? I was definitely not a jock. I was the art, you know, crowd. You know,
I was a theater kid. So
me too. Improv and stuff like that. Yeah, I actually took like improv classes and drama classes and stuff. Yeah,
I did too. Actually, that's why we have a bromance, Nicholas.
Yeah, man. Did they ever do in those classes? Did they ever do the relaxation exercises where like everyone had to like lay on the floor?
Oh, for sure, of course.
And the drama teacher would be like, "You only hear my voice." Yeah. So it was.
Did you ever do the exercise where you and a partner, you stare at each other, you're cross-legged on the floor, and you go, "Who are you?" And you go, you know, and you describe yourself, and then the other person goes, "Who are you?" You describe yourself, and you just keep on getting deeper and deeper and deeper, making this commitment to each other. You ever do that one? So fucking obnoxious.
I had. I remember doing one where like we had to like we had to stand in front of each other and we had to each pretend we're an animal, and then we have to be like, what animal? The other person had to guess what animal we are. Like, I mean, so ridiculous, so crazy. But you know, like I still love. I mean, I love theater, and I love film. I absolutely love film, and I love comedy especially. And you know, like the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater is a great place, and so like that's all in me. And I was, and that what got me to Chip Black Nail Polish. So there's this whole community. If you're a writer, you really should, especially an indie author, you should embrace the community, because there are readers out there who will find your stuff but they won't know about it unless you promote it.
Right. So have you made money off of the books at all? Like any kind of?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, I'm not like living the high life off it, but you know, I always expected it to be kind of an underground thing. I mean, if you look at the cover of The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself and you look at the title, called The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself,
exactly.
You know, it's not for everybody, but the people who it's for get it.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what I'm kind of proud of that.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of it. I'd rather maintain credibility and do something that I believe in than just write something that just to make money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's weird. Like you talk about the writers community. There's a podcast community too. I mean, I have buddies
Oh
at
yeah.
Hargrove Internet Radio. Hey guys, HARGROVE. They're on YouTube and all the other social medias, Facebook and everything. I've become friendly with those guys, and they're wonderful people. And I'm sure there are more podcasts out there. But
My shirt that I'm wearing, New Bridge for Life. This is for the best show, thebestshow.net.
Oh,
Tom
cool.
Markling. Yeah, this is probably one podcast that truly, got me through very, very hard times.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just very funny, and every time I listen to it, there's new music. John Worster from Superchunk is involved in it, and it's great. Yeah, podcasting is great, and I got really involved with it. Not involved with it, but involved with listening to it. I listen to podcasts in my car more than I do music.
Me too, actually. Mark Maron's at WTF.
Mark Maron's great.
Yeah, he's although I don't get it when he's like jealous of other comics and bitter and stuff like. But that's like a Jewish nebbishy thing. I think.
Well, that's kind of, I don't want to say it's Zach, but that's his style. Like he had Lorne Michaels on recently.
Oh, I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, he goes from episode to episode. Lorne Michaels is the guy from Saturday Night Live, for anyone who doesn't know.
Right.
He basically is the godfather. He's the owner. He's the boss of Saturday. He's the final word of Saturday Night Live. Mark Maron was going to be the Weekend Update guy. Yeah, right after Dennis. I think it was right after Dennis Miller. But yeah, he was going to be the Weekend Update guy, and I think he would make a great Weekend Update.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he didn't get it. He didn't get it. He had many auditions and everything like that, and he didn't get it. And all through his podcast, he's talking about it, and all through his acts, he's talking about it
for years.
For years, yeah. And he finally got him on. Yeah.
And did they divulge why, or did Lorne not have a reason really?
He was just like, it's the business.
There's not your time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was something like that. Yeah.
He's got a weird Canadian accent, and he's got a mansion in the Hamptons now. I don't know. So it's funny. Now let me ask you. I'm going to put you on the spot for a second here, and give me a. You can. Well, obviously you're live. So, but give me a code. Like you could blink or scratch your hair when I ask you this question. Okay. So you don't verbally say yes. Is a portion of the writers community, the independent writers community thing, is about scoring chicks?
For many people, yeah. For me, it's not. I mean, I do all right when it comes to women.
Yeah,
I'm very fortunate.
Look at that hair.
Oh, thank you. I'm very fortunate, but it's so evident. And look, I'll get real. I don't give a fuck. I will tell you how it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought it was about pussy too, a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure. I personally, I love it when women flirt with me. Women send me naked pictures of themselves.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, they do, and they're young. I'm 40 years old, and these women are like 20-something years old. And I don't get me wrong, I'm a narcissist. I love it. It's great. You know what I mean? But it's also, I like, kind of, women my own age. 22-year-old kill me.
Exactly. They'll rip you apart.
Yeah.
Barracuda.
So, but you could tell there's so many, especially with the male writers, and I'm calling you out, guys. I'm not by name, but I'm calling you out. There are a lot of male writers who write specifically just for the women aspect of it, and they write what they think sells. And a lot of times, which kind of really annoys me, is that they're not representing the BDSM community and the fetish community in a honest way. At the same time, it's like, oh, it's fantasy. You're writing fantasy fiction, stuff like that. But you could tell it's really just to make money. It's really just to, and there's not tons of money in it, but it's really just to gain fans, gain women, to fall over them. At the same time, though, I'm guilty of the fact that I love it. I absolutely love it when a woman compliments me or pays attention to me in any way, shape, or form. Right. I'm not gonna lie, I do. I love it. It's awesome. Yeah. So I mean, but what I'm writing, the stuff I write, and like I only come out with I only came out with 2 books. I'm working on another one, and
When's it coming out? When?
My new one is probably not going to come out until next year.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to create like art here. I'm trying to create something.
Sure.
I'm not just trying to create some series or something that, because those like I got into this game, right? I got into this business with the purest intentions of to create a tribute to the love of my life,
right,
and to create a piece of art as a testament, as a tribute to her. And
sure.
I was so excited about it, and I wanted everybody to read it. So I promoted it as much as I could, and I still do.
You do.
And
you really are out there.
Oh yeah,
not out there like insane, but I mean out there. You're savvy. You really make yourself
thank you.
available. Let me share. Just talking about chicks, and as a secondary motivation for doing something noble or artsy. I have a family member who will remain nameless. I'll tell you offline sometime, who was actively involved in the civil rights movement.
Okay.
And he organized. He went on
the civil rights movement.
What's that?
They were for civil rights.
Yes, of course. Yeah, they were not anti-civil rights. They were not going white power or standing in front of a chicken restaurant with a bat, shotgun, cool. Or blocking a school with Governor George Wallace of Alabama. So, and this person went down on the bus several times. Is it somebody important?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So
he went, this person went on the bus several times, got hassled by rednecks, beaten up by rednecks, actually marched with Dr. King and all that stuff, really noble stuff, like really honorable stuff. And one night I was like a freshman in college. I was at this family member's house, and I pursued some kind of academics as a result of this person, which I'll tell you offline. Because I think he deserves some discretion. This was a private thing that we shared in a corner. I said, it's so noble what you did. I don't want to kiss your ass, but you went back down and down again on those buses and organized. A, you could have been killed, and B, it's a pain in the ass, to sit on a bus for 15 hours or something like that, And he said, "Come over here. I got to talk to you." And,
I see where this is going.
And he pulls me into the corner of his living room, and he goes, chicks, women? And then he leans in close. He goes, pussy? He goes, there were a lot of liberal girls on those buses, Ethan. Dude, I was fucking like crazy. He goes, I believed in the movement. I worked for it, but secondary, I wanted to get fucking laid. And I got laid a lot. And I soaked the resonance of that in, and I said, there you go. Everybody always has ulterior motives and everything. I needed some sort of cathartic release to do art, so I do this. Yeah,
that's great. I understand that, though. I understand, like, once when I published the book, the attention that I got from it, and it's not a best-selling novel, it's more of an underground thing, but some of the people who dig it really, really dig it, really love it and appreciate it, and I am so grateful for that. That makes me feel so good about myself.
Right.
That, seriously, like, when I'm at a period in my life now, after all the bullshit that I've been through, because of that, and because of those fans, because of, and I talk to them too. It's not like, I'm not that popular where, like, people can't reach out to me. I'm accessible, and it's because of that. Like, that gets me through the day when I'm really down, and I have some, times a day when I'm down, or sad or something like that. I start looking at my Facebook feed, and and I start looking at the people of what they said and looking at the reviews, and like that keeps me going. So in a way, I mean, I can understand that. I can understand that, and I'm not looking to, I didn't write a book to get laid or anything like that. But the positive feedback from it is amazing. What I was gonna say is that there are some people, like I'll put out a book like maybe every 2 or 3 years, right?
Right.
And since I put out The Coolest Way, there are some authors who put out like 7 to 8 books in a year.
Of shit? Are they shitty books?
Oh yeah, they're garbage. Straight up garbage. Not naming any names.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't put out that much that quick and not have it. Like some of it's got to be garbage. Like you know what I mean?
Why be a machine? Why crank it out? Take a little time.
Yeah, do it for love.
I mean, don't be don't be Axl Rose and take 17 years to put out fucking Chinese Illusion.
I never even heard that album. Is that any good?
It's amazing.
Is it?
It's amazing.
Is it worth the wait?
It's really worth listening to. It's really worth listening to. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, he's obviously mentally ill because every song is about people out to get him and being against the world and stuff like that, and how everyone hates him and stuff like that. Really? So there's definitely some narcissistical delusions of grandeur stuff going on. And they have like 100 people in that band. And
is Buckethead on that one?
Yes. And let me tell you something. I saw him with Buckethead on the tour at Madison Square Garden, and Vicky, my wonderful wife, I don't do podcasts to get laid because I love my wife. She was there. She could vouch for that. Buckethead, he wears a Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket on his head and like a Michael Myers Halloween mask. Mm-hmm. And he's in character even when he's off the stage. I've heard this from journalists and stuff like that.
He's an amazing guitar player.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. They came out with Welcome to the Jungle, and I still remember how fucking awesome it was. And because I never got to see them in 7th grade when we were on the Appetite for Destruction tour. There was this one girl in my shop class who was like the dangerous girl who went into New York to see them at age 13 and stuff like that. That's so fucking hot.
That's what Chip Black Nail Polish is about.
At the Ritz. Did you ever go see a show at the Ritz?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But geez, Mary Chain at the Ritz. I saw My Bloody Valentine, Superchunk, and Pavement at the Ritz.
That's a great show.
It's a great show. And what's funny is, remember we're talking about podcasts, the best show, Sharpling and Orchestra. They met at that show. I didn't know them,
right.
But yeah, I saw My Bloody Valentine there, and they were so loud. It was insane. It was just incredibly loud, and it was the first time I ever saw or ever heard of Superchunk or ever saw Pavement.
Wow,
great! It was very fun. I saw the Pixies at the Ritz.
Who?
The Pixies.
Oh, sure. Black Francis and Kim Deal.
I saw Billy Bragg. Billy Bragg comes in. The Ritz is a big venue. Billy Bragg just comes in with a guitar and an amp.
Oh, I love him. My wife and I met online, and we really connected over a shared love of. So in a way, Billy Bragg is to thank for my family, the love of my life. It is. She's got a new thrill. I mean, but yeah. So I've seen Billy about.
He got a new spell.
What's that?
I'm
sorry.
He got a new spell.
See, you're smarter than me, man.
No, I just remember music stuff more. I like anything about movies and film, comedians and music. Like I know it. You ask me about like science, and and math. I'm like, yeah, it's another story.
But I first discovered Billy in 1982 on my 7th grade trip to England. I turned on the TV. I caught a show, and you probably remember because it was on MTV over here, called The Tube.
Oh, yeah.
Jules Holland and the girl who died of the heroin overdose, whose daughter died. Paula Yates?
Yeah, okay.
Or something. She was the mother of Peaches Geldof, who also died of the heroin overdose.
Bob Geldof.
Yeah, and then she married Michael Hutchence or something like that.
Who died of autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yes. Which, anyway, I don't know. I'll ask you about that in a second.
I don't know,
Autoerotic.
asphyxiation or Michael Hutchins?
Both. Both.
Okay.
So, and the video of him turns on, and he's in. I don't want to say he's in a laundrette because that's obnoxious. Because I'm not British. He's in a laundry, wherever you take your washing to. Where there's, if you don't have a washer dryer in your room in your house, you go to a place where there's like they say. What?
The laundrette.
Yes, they go at a laundrette. Okay, and it's just him with his speaker on his back, or at the on his side, and his guitar, and he just goes, "I'm in the laundrette. I'm doing my washing, and I'm gonna play a song called 'Love Gets Dangerous' for you." And it was just I'd never heard anything like that before, and fell in love with his music. And up until about "Don't Try This at Home," after that, I feel his music got off track. Like as he got older,
yeah,
it kind of like England, Half England, or whatever is
yeah. From "Don't Try This at Home," I do like. I think there's a song called "Cindy of a Thousand Lives" or something like that.
Yeah,
that's really good. But like a lot of the stuff is like it was like too poppy-ish. I talking to the postman about poetry, or talking to the taxman about poetry. Yeah. That there's a song called "The Warmest Room."
Yes,
that's a great song.
Yes, it is.
That's a great song. And "Workers' Playtime," "The Price I Pay," that always like stuck with me. And of course, "Waiting for the Great Leap Forward," that always stuck with me as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what's weird about that is he took that line from Chairman Mao, the leader of China, and the Great Leap Forward really was a time when millions of Chinese people died as they were forced to do some sort like a mass agrarian like agricultural project, return to the some sort of communist thing. And I wonder why he used that as the title when it was a genocidal thing in a sense. The same thing. It's difficulty. My grandparents and great grandparents were major communists and socialists and stuff like that. To be fair, I don't know the distinction between what makes a communist and what makes a socialist. But they believed in that. They voted in Democrat because they had to, but I don't understand how that older generation reconciled the genocides of like Stalin and Mao to their beliefs, like how they could morally accept it. Did they just ignore it and stuff like that?
That is, it's an interesting point. It's an interesting question. I think generations have changed. There's certain parts of my family who I'm not going to mention who are much older than me. Not my brothers, but like, other like aunts, uncles, stuff like that who it was normal for them to use, the N-word, and it was normal for them to use like anybody who wasn't white. It was like they looked down upon, and I was never like that. I think it's a generational thing. And then the same thing comes with homosexuality. Is that I have a lot of lesbian friends for some reason.
That's so hot. That's so awesome.
And they they schooled me. And the same thing with women's rights. And I've black friends and I've women friends, and I'm a white guy. And by being friends with women and black people and and gay people, it's like they taught me that like there are issues in this world. White people have done a lot of problems, caused a lot of problems.
Exactly.
It's fixable, but we got a long way to go. And they really schooled me on what not to say, what not to do, what hurts their feelings, and how crazy, like unintentionally racist you could be, unintentionally racist or
Absolutely.
unintentionally sexist, and even though your heart's in the right place, you could say the wrong thing. And that's, but it's a generation thing. Whereas nowadays, those people in my family are those older people that I know from the older generations, and I'm talking multiple generations away. Like, they know it's not cool to say the N-word. They know it's not cool. They know you shouldn't say sexist things. They know you shouldn't, you shouldn't say anything that's homophobic, because times are changing, and so in a way, it's a good thing that times are changing, but it's still there. But we're still kind of understand of how people thought it was all right to be that way.
And that's a good point. Let me see. Segue. Is that how you
segue
into like I said, all my grandparents and great grandparents and great uncles and all that stuff were all socialists and communists and really ready for a workers' revolution. But yet they came over here, escaping the Holocaust and the pogroms and stuff like that, and they acclimated to America. They and I'm not saying this is good or bad. They were radicals, but they didn't blow up post offices or shoot people and stuff like that. So basically, obviously, I'm trying to transition into what happened in Paris 2 weeks ago. Like those kids who did it, they were all living in France and Belgium. They were all Europeans.
Yeah.
Whether they were born someplace and moved to France and Belgium later in life, I'm not sure. But it's like, how did they get lost and then radicalized? And like my family didn't. They were communists and wanted a revolution, but they went to see the Brooklyn Dodgers play. And these kids lived in Paris and they blew themselves up and killed 180 people or whatever. And I just don't understand it. What's your thoughts?
I think that young people are very impressionable, and the world is literally I always thought everything going on ever since the beginning of time, the world's been insane. It's and it's really stressful to be a kid. And it's really stressful to be a young person. And there's so much fear being pumped out from both ends of both parties. Every media outlet,
all of them,
is just pumping fear, and the youth, and I'm talking, when I say youth, I mean really anyone under 30, including children. They're just very, very impressionable, and that's why people, like ISIS are training children, literally actual children who are under 10 years old in some cases, and it's been going on through history, through the beginning of time, warlords and stuff like that. So that children are impressionable, and
absolutely,
and that's just it breaks my heart.
It really does.
Yeah,
that's like somebody should give them like a Minor Threat tape or a Smiths album or something like that.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Seriously, that's not.
That's how you get democracy.
See, the great thing about Minor Threat was it was so do it yourself.
Absolutely.
And Ian MacKaye had such this passion, and there were some, I guess, controversial things in the beginning, but like in the general, it's like he had just such passion and this love of individuality. So it wasn't, like you said, you give a kid a Minor Threat tape. Yeah, give a kid a Minor Threat tape, because let them be individuals. Let them not be part of, or not be brainwashed or part of something. So, and that can go everywhere from, any religion to any kind of scene. And don't get me wrong, I was part of the punk rock scene, I was part of the rave scene, I'm also part of the BDSM fetish community. I like being a part of those scenes, but I also pride myself on being myself and being an individual. And when it comes to it, me being an individual and me doing what I want to do trumps everything. What I mean? So like I'm not going to like when I was at the rave scene, sure, I did a lot of drugs and I danced a lot, stuff like that. But when I was at the punk scene, just because people had mohawks and piercings and I didn't do it because I didn't want to. I look like the way I did now, pretty much, except a lot younger. And so it's like stuff like that. A Minor Threat tape will definitely perpetuate someone's individuality.
I mean, here's how my take on it, and I've still never reconciled how the sort of Jewish radical experience of the 20s and 30s and 40s didn't mirror the current radicalization jihad movement of young Arabs now. I don't understand how come it didn't happen with my grandparents, because they came over here, they didn't speak any English and all that shit and blah blah blah, and lived in shit houses on the Lower East Side and stuff like that. But you start off your life. Here's how, like, if I were Secretary of State Ethan Sincoff, here's my analysis. Or if I was a sociologist, I'm thinking like a shrink or anthropologist. Here's my take on it. And let's do layer by layer. Listen to this as I sort of build my house, starting with the foundation. Okay, I'm going to use a build a house analogy to my defining why there is this jihadist whatever radicalization movement. Why young men and women are blowing themselves up who are westernized. Okay, so you start off living in a country, you're born into a country that is already fucked up, that doesn't really know democracy, that hates America. There's some stuff to hate about America.
Oh yeah, every country's fucked up. Every country's fucked up.
Hates Israel, so they hate Jews.
But I got to say that the beauty of America is that we have the freedom to hate it. We have the freedom to criticize it.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of people come back and say it's not patriotic, but one of the most patriotic things, I forgot who said it, but one of the most patriotic things is to criticize your own government, to criticize your own country. And, that's the beauty of, this country. Anyway, I'm sorry, go on.
No. That's right. We can stop and go back and forth. So you start out in a country that, every Middle Eastern major city, and I don't think this is racist, I could share it with you. If you look at a videotape of it, be it Beirut or Damascus or Cairo or what's the main city in Jordan? I don't know. Anyway, any city, they all look the same. Could be the same city. They all look teeming with people. There's lots of cars on the road. There's horns honking, and people are hot and sweaty, and obviously the women have the whatever the headscarf is called, and the men usually have mustaches and curly hair and are sweaty. That is the film of every major Middle Eastern city.
Okay. Wait.
It looks the same. So you start out coming from a place that's kind of not great. You don't know about democracy. You don't know about, that you can criticize the government in certain places and things are okay. So then you emigrate to a country that doesn't really welcome you the greatest, maybe like France, right? You're isolated. You live in shitty public housing. There are no programs to help you with the language or train you or acclimate you to a different society. You're just left there, and you work a shitty job. You're on the subway, the metro, and you're a second-class citizen, or so you feel. So people are lost. They're in 20s or 22s, and they don't listen to Minor Threat. They should listen to Minor Threat or something like that. So they're lost. So they go someplace, and these fuckers manipulate them. And I'm not going to say who, but there are people who I believe who are consciously know, because these are the money people. They're consciously aware that these kids are lost.
Oh yeah, they prey on children.
Right, and they come in.
It's just like pimps.
Right, exactly, and that's where the money is. If somebody could trace the trail of terrorism to the top, there's some guy in some city with a load of cocaine and Rolls Royces and hookers who's a whore.
Did you ever watch The Wire?
No, I never did. Never could get into it.
So The Wire is a lot of it's about Baltimore and drugs and stuff like that. And there's guy named Lester I forgot the actor's name, but he's great character. And he goes, you follow the drugs, you're going to get drug dealers and junkies. You follow the money, you never know where it's going to go.
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about. Really, honestly, I think this like every war is about money and power. It's
absolutely.
And I think a lot, like, I think this ISIS group, ISIL, whatever, is exploiting a religion for money and power.
Absolutely. I've read the Quran. It was years ago, but I read it in college, and you know, uh, it's a noble book. It's a I've read the Torah. I've read the Old Testament and the New Testament and all that crap. And I have my issues with religion.
Me too.
All all religions. I think
All religions. Me
they
too.
they keep you blind to a lot of things. But if that's
Yeah, it's about control.
Exactly.
It's about
Exactly.
control. That's
So
I don't want to offend anybody, but like you could be a spiritual person, you could believe in God if that's what's your thing, but like most organized religion is straight up about control. It's about control of the people.
absolutely. And
that all stems from what we were talking about with children. If even and it's not just what's going on now, but it's all throughout history. They use children as soldiers.
Absolutely. Like I was reading today online, there was an article in the Guardian, the English newspaper, about how this all started. It started really after World War One, because before World War One, the Middle East was ruled by the Ottoman Empire, which I guess is Turkey, and they had sided with the Germans. Now the obviously the ally, not the, I don't know what they were called back in World War One, but the British and Americans and French won. So there were two guys. There was a French military guy, politician with the last name of Picot, and there was a British colonialist guy with the last name of Sykes. And basically Sykes and Picot, they created the Sykes-Picot Act. And what the Sykes-Picot Act was, they took all this area, all of the Middle East, which was, tribal and flowing and, had different boundaries, and they carved it up into different chunks, created countries, and gave them to each other. And so you had these boundaries, you had these regions that didn't exist before that all of a sudden exist. You had cultures that were forced to live with each other, and in an environment that they didn't want to do that. So you had these creations that were suddenly unstable, and it all goes to directly back to imperialism and colonialism. And you see it. It's funny how I didn't realize that. So it's funny how that contributed to the situation today.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Well, okay, so we're talking about children being very impressionable,
right?
Stuff like that. You deal with anxiety and depression,
right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right? When you were young, did you feel that you kind of got lost in something?
Lost like how?
Well, with me, it was first of all, it was like the punk rock scene, the hardcore punk rock scene. Like I was totally lost in it, and that led to a lot of sex and drugs and stuff like that.
There was no sex going on with me, man. Let me tell you.
But you know what I mean. But when the rave scene happened, I got completely lost in it. Meaning just like and it was a quest for fun. It was not like it was a quest for like pleasure and fun and and another state of consciousness and stuff like that. But looking back, and then then the drugs came in and stuff like that. But looking back, I got I was kind of out of control. And if somebody who I trusted who had sinister tendencies or had a sinister influence and a sinister agenda, I could, like, looking back, I could see myself being manipulated if that was the case. And I was lucky, like the doctor said, I dodged a lot of bullets. I was lucky that I wasn't around people like that. Is there a case that might have happened to you?
Let me think. Yes. Okay. 7th grade, I'd always wanted to try cocaine. And did I tell you the Neil Gary? The Neil story? Yeah, I snorted cocaine off of an Iron Maiden album cover, and then Glenn Bias, the basketball player, dropped dead that day of a cocaine overdose. us. My mother took me to the Woodbridge Mall to buy clothes.
Mm.
And I realized that it was a great drug and I really shouldn't do it because I might drop dead. And I'm a nice Jewish boy and nice Jewish boys should live.
Drop dead.
Exactly. So I'm going to talk about how much longer do you have to hang?
How much you got?
How long you've been going for? Okay. So you're basically close to my age. Let me give you an example, a snapshot of what it was like to grow up in the Sincoff house, talking about anxiety and stuff like that. Think of anything in the Middle East and Europe during the 80s and 70s. You know, just throw out random questions like you're me. Like you're asking, my dad was named Elliot. So just go like, hey, Elliot, what do you think of blah, blah, blah?
Hey, Elliot, what do you think of Bader Meinhof?
I don't give a fuck. Those motherfuckers, those motherfucking Germans. Ethan, let me tell you something. They murdered 6 million of us. They put us into ovens. I wouldn't buy a German product if you paid me. I put it back on the shelf. Dad, you never go to a store. You hate going to a store. I don't give a fuck. If I went to a store, I would never buy a German product. I wouldn't go to Germany. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck their terrorism. Fuck. They're leftists. That's great. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what happens to them. I don't give a fuck if they go to jail. If they're victorious, that's whatever. Fuck them. Fuck those motherfuckers. What's that?
That's your dad?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Ask me something else. A couple other things. One or two more.
What do you think? What do you think about the Munich Olympics?
What? Let me tell you. And I remember this. I remember being 2. Wow. God damn it. He goes, those motherfucking Palestinians. He goes, let me tell you, Israel is gonna rain power, rain anger down on them. They're gonna cry. If I was the head motherfucker over in Israel, if I was the prime minister over there, I would start bombing those shit houses they live in and keep on bombing them until they cried, Ethan. They cried. Jewish blood is not cheap anymore. It was cheap during the Holocaust, but it's not cheap now. And they're going to make them pay. That was what it was like growing up in my house. Like every day.
Okay.
Every day. And like leftist ideology. My kid just threw something at me. So he was a good guy, but he was a real pain in the ass. I mean, everything was Israel, Jews.
Dude, my dad is this. What's funny is because my dad is a very, very right-wing Republican. My mom is a very, very liberal she's a conservative liberal Democrat.
Right.
And they argue about, especially with this new election coming up. Oh, this comedy gold. It really is.
Yeah. Who was your dad dig? Is he a Trump guy?
He just likes anybody Republican. He just doesn't want Hillary Clinton in the White House. My mom kind of likes Bernie. You know?
Yeah.
I'd
like to hear what he says other than
punk rock grandfather.
Economic stuff. I'd like to hear his whole thing. So, you know.
But they're all like it's every election is the same thing. It's like you vote for the lesser evil.
Absolutely. I just made my voice hoarse by doing my dad. just think if you were that, and that was Elliot was amped up times about 10, 12 from what I was doing. And, it would be like dad, and the last decade and a half of his life. I'm like, Dad, what do you think of us helping out Bosnia Herzegovina? What's going on over there in Sarajevo? I don't give a fuck. Fuck those motherfuckers. Let them die. Let them die. We want to help.
Think about the portrayal of Jewish people during the 70s and 80s in film.
Exactly. But he didn't really get worked up about that. He didn't like Woody Allen because he thought he hated the stereotypical Jew.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Like, yeah, he would just go, I don't fucking like Woody Allen. I don't like him. Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him and his clarinet playing and his jazz band. Fuck him. Fuck him. He was a funny guy, my father. Elliot was a funny guy. He loved Israel, but he never went there. So he wanted to go, but I guess he died before he could go.
What did he have an opinion about Meyer Lansky?
Hey, Jewish people aren't all angels, Ethan. Jewish people aren't. We had Murder Incorporated. Ethan, there were some tough motherfuckers in Meyer Lansky. He never got caught. He never went to prison.
Yeah, it's true. He escaped to Israel, right?
But they wouldn't let him in.
They would. Oh, okay.
He died in Miami Beach, like every good Jew. Old Jew should die in Miami Beach. He goes, Murder Incorporated. Let me tell you a name. Abe Kid Twist Relis. He goes, let me tell you about that. He goes, you know, he got caught by the cops and he was going to turn and they had him holed up in the Half Moon Hotel in Brooklyn, New York. And the room was full of cops. And somehow Kid Twist ended up flying out the window and hitting the boardwalk and died. He goes, you know what they used to say, Ethan? The canary could sing, but he couldn't fly. Couldn't fly. He goes, yeah, we're not angels. And Detroit had the Purple Gang. And we had the, it was he would go, hey, we aren't all angels. He goes, Ethan, let me tell you something. There's prisons in Israel. There's prisons in Israel. They're not all great people. We got prisons, I admit that. But they're Jews. They're my people. And it's like, you know, it kind of, it really formatted your way of thinking as a kid, you know? Yeah. And, you know, because it gets shoved down your throat. So as an adult, well, I'm still a proud Jew and a supporter of Israel and a strong state of Israel. I can realize that, you know, hey, there's a little give and take in the situation, you know? I'll admit that. But growing up as a kid in that house, he was a tough guy to be
argumentative with.
Well, there was love, and this is way off topic, but there was love, but on his terms. So,
oh no, I totally understand that. My dad's the same way.
Yeah, sort of like an emotional bully.
And my dad is like, see me, I'm all about like laughing. I like humor and stuff like that. So he told me that a couple of days ago. He said he called me up and to tell me that Obama wants to evaporate America.
Evaporate.
And the first thing that comes to my head, because of this whole thing about the Starbucks cups,
yes, was
like this dumb, absurd connection with the foam of evaporation to Starbucks, like Obama.
Exactly.
So stupid.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's funny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go. Oh,
yeah,
interrupted you. Sorry.
You know, like they're your parents. They're your parents. My grandfather worked for a Jewish paint store. A paint store, and that guy, his boss, I guess he didn't feel he was treated fair. So that just like every once in a while, like an anti-Semitic comment would come out of his mouth. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh no.
Exactly. But it's funny. My dad was a liberal. He only voted Republican once. Before he died, he was campaigning for Obama with me. So it's ironic, the contradictions in him. When he wasn't, he was a funny guy. He made jokes, but he never opened up about his past. I don't think his childhood was too good. I think his dad was a dick. I never met my grandfather. My grandfather was died before I was born. But you know, good guy. Wish he was still around. Pain in the ass in the last couple of years of his life. Still reconciling a lot of shit. So.
Oh no, I know exactly how you. I mean, but it's a generational thing. It's a different time then. You know, they had different ideologies. Things were accepted that would never be accepted now.
Yep.
You know, I look at it as progression. Some people look at it as the end of the world.
Right. I feel like it's the end of the world sometimes. Some days.
Sometimes I do think, yeah, the last days, a lot of stuff's going on, man. Holy moly.
Yeah. Hey, let's I love talking to you. Let's sum up, because I think we've been like an hour and 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Sum up where people can find you: Twitter, Facebook, your books,
Definitely.
where
Awesome.
they can get them.
Okay. Plug. You could find me at Nicholas Tanek. Nicholas, last name Tanek, Tanek. I'm on Twitter at Nicholas Tanek. I'm on Facebook. Just look up Nicholas Tanek. You could go to the Coolest Way. There's a Coolest Way Facebook group. There's a fan club. If you just look up the Coolest Way or the Nicholas Tanek, you'll find me there. I've got tons of interviews. I am starting a website. The prototype is not 100% up yet, but it'll probably be up by the time this gets out, and it's at thecoolestway.net.
Okay.
And and it's got a lot of information about me there. Buy my books, both books, on Amazon. Go to Amazon.com. They're in some very independent bookstores, not many, but still some. Most of it's all Amazon. So The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself by Nicholas Tanek at Amazon.com. I think that's the only book with that title on Amazon.
Oh, sure.
And you can go find Chip Black Nail Polish, which is also on Amazon.com. Please buy that. It's available on Kindle. It's available in paperback. And just support creative arts.
And be happy.
Yeah, be happy. Support creative arts. Be cool and open-minded, and support creative people. I want to give a shout out to everybody on my street team. Everybody is amazing.
I need a street team.
You do. And,
how do I get a street team?
You start asking. No, you could write a book.
Yeah, I should.
I
have one guy talking T-shirts.
Oh, I need some Coolest Way and Chip Black Nail Polish T-shirts. Okay. But and they seriously, the street team, my street team is fantastic in the sense that they're working with other authors and books and stuff like that, and on their own time, whenever they get a chance, simply because they are supportive and they're creative and loving people, that they come in and they make teasers, they make videos. You go on YouTube and look up Nicholas Tanek. There are actual videos that were made by people from the street team who are just genuinely fans, and that humbles me. It almost makes me cry because
awesome.
Because it's so amazing. I mean, one thing, I wrote a book, and that book made me meet and all these people, and I became friends with all these people. I'm on this podcast because of this book. I met Jim Reed from Jesus Mary Chain, all because of the book, and I had lunch with him. I had the comedian Chris Gethard and stuff like that, and I just met so many people, and like really amazing, beautiful, creative people, all because I just wrote a book, and I'm so thankful for that. So yeah, check out The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself, and check out Chip Black Nail Polish, and look me up online.
And I'm sorry about the impression of my father, because it didn't go over too well, and B,
I'd laughed.
I'm losing my voice as a result.
That's fine.
That's why you had high blood pressure.
I'm like, seriously.
What's that?
I'm writing a new book, and some of it deals with the older generation and the differences and the difficulties of dealing with the older generation, and then also the craziness of becoming the older generation.
Exactly, which we are.
Yeah, which we are. Oh yeah, trust me. I go out to shows, and I'm like, everyone's so young. What's going on?
Shows? I don't go to fucking shows anymore. But I have a kid, so. Yeah. But anyway, man, I love you, and I'm glad we're talking. This is awesome.
Definitely, we should do a movie show. We should do a record show too.
are frozen.
Are you up?
Oh, you're back? Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Where are you? Yeah, I'm back. You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Sorry. You got frozen there for a second.
It's okay. It's all good. Well, we were saying goodbye anyway. So yeah, we should do an like, I got some other people who might be involved. We got to do the show with Luna again.
Absolutely.
Then we got to do I have a comedian friend who I could bring. Then there's a indie band from New Brunswick you might be interested in
Absolutely.
talking to. Dude, we gotta stick together. We're gonna help each other out.
I mean, it's because of this podcast that I'm a friend of yours.
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
And and let me say, ladies and gentlemen, we actually talk even when you're not a guest. We actually message
often,
and we're friendly. And if you lived closer, we'd actually socialize.
Definitely. And we have a mutual friend in common.
Yes, exactly, who I've grown up with. So there you go.
Awesome.
So, Nicholas Tanek, you're a good man. You're a healthy man.
Yes. Well, healthy enough for 40.
Exactly. And you're still in it. You're in it to win it. You're still keeping it real up in the field.
And I'm working on a new book.
And the other books are there. Go to Amazon. Coolest way to kill yourself. Chip Black nail polish. Look for Nick Tanek on Facebook
and Twitter
and Google Plus.
Yes.
All right, man. You be well.
You be well too. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna go shower now.
All right. Take care. Use soap.
I'll see ya.
All right.
Bye. All right, guys. That's the podcast. Thank you, Nick. I will talk to you later, everybody. Nicholas, any last words?
Keep an open mind and an open heart.
Okay. And I say to the audience, go fuck yourself. And as I always say every week, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Everybody have a great weekend, everybody. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.